All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to Targeting Winners. The off season continues. We're trying to get through it. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about some bankroll management. But first, Pete, how's the beach?
Beach is great. It is not on fire this week, which is
not
good.
On fire. No mortar shells. No machine gun fire.
No machine gun fire. The cartels have been put back to bed apparently, so all is good. There's a Black Hawk flying around with an M50 just in case there's any problems, but I think everything is under control.
Safe and sound on the beach.
We are safe and going forward.
Darren, how's the snowdrift?
A lot of it is melted. Supposed to get a little freezing rain tonight, maybe another inch or two of snow. But starting tomorrow, mid 40s and steadily increasing. We're supposed to actually have 65 on Tuesday. I don't even know what to do with myself that it'll be in the 60s in a few short days. So
it sucks. You can't make fun of Darren anymore because of the weather. That's
you still can because 3 weeks later, first week of April, we'll get a freak snowstorm and I'll be like 11 inches on the ground.
Yeah. Well, we do have a cold front coming in next week down here. It's going to be 68 next Friday.
Yeah, okay.
So that'll be
should probably
today it's 81
sweater or something. My gosh.
All right. Well, before we get into the topic, let's acknowledge the passing of Lou Holtz, longtime Notre Dame coach. Darren, you're a big Golden Domer. The floor is yours. Pretty funny guy in the broadcast booth as well sometimes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we probably grew up on him and Mark May arguing weekly about college football, which was probably some of the best college football television that didn't involve actual players that we've had in quite some time. But, yeah, I mean, got Notre Dame a championship. Started off as a Kent State linebacker. I did not know that. So
he played linebacker?
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Like you think the least likely guy on the planet to be a linebacker, but it's Kent State. So do with that info what you will. But yeah, man, depressing day. I see on Twitter lots of even Notre Dame haters are like, the reason I hated Notre Dame is because Lou Holtz kept winning. So a lot of mostly nice condolences for him. But yeah, and I mean, I guess this is a betting show. If you thought Notre Dame had motivation after last year to have a good season, maybe there's a little bit more there. So
could be.
Do with that info what you will. But yeah, sucks. Good. Felt the same way like when Mike Leach passed away. Like
that was horrible.
Yeah, that was terrible as well.
But on the good side, Akron Zips. Yay! They got their GPA up or whatever they had to do.
They're back, baby.
The Zips. So LeBron is happy. That's where he's from, right? Isn't he from Akron?
I believe so.
Yeah, he's there.
I didn't read. Did you guys see? Did they actually improve their grades? Because it said they got a waiver. So I don't know if that means. Fine,
I don't know.
You still don't study, but we don't want to listen to you complain anymore.
The NCAA was like, "Man, these guys are dumbasses." Never mind. Just go play.
Just play.
Did the NCAA be like, "You're a 4-win team anyway"? It's not like you're going to the postseason. So yeah, whatever. We'll see. But good for them.
Yeah. A little bit on a comedy in light of recent world events. I saw that college football Twitter is still bringing the funny. They have Carson Beck joining the military to overthrow Iran, and they have Lane Kiffin in talks to become the next Ayatollah. So that was a pretty funny meme there. He's in a so he's not going to be coaching at LSU this year. He's going to go be the new Ayatollah over there. That's to make sure nobody hated him enough already. He's going to go over there.
I did not see that. I love that. That's great.
Never stop college football Twitter. Just never stop. Just keep it coming. We always love that.
We needed a slide of Lane Kiffin dressed up like the Ayatollah.
I'll try to find it. And I'll send it out to you guys. But let's just jump right into it. This is Bankroll Management. A little bit of a reality check for you guys. All those casinos on the Strip, they're not built there because people win. Okay, the house always wins. Not every day, not every night, but over time, they will always win. They have the built-in edge. They have unlimited money. So this episode is more to get you to get your bankroll, how to manage it well, and keep everything going. That's what we're going to talk about today. But first, in a couple weeks, on March 19th, it'll be our way too early national championship preview. We're going to be looking at some bets, probably at the top 15 or so teams. So we can't stay away from betting too long. So we got to look at some of this stuff, and we're going to see some of the odds. We're going to look into that. That'll be March 19th at 7 p.m. Any early thoughts on that? Little sneak peek, guys?
First of all, I just want to say the odds have been up since like the day after the national championship ended. So it is not too early, my friend. We're actually like 2 months behind. So, and honestly, is it ever too early to talk about making bets? Like you said, you think about this is the second show in a row that like we're actually not giving out any bets. I feel like I have itchy skin, like I'm shaking. I don't even know.
Yeah, got any more of them bets?
Yeah, but in 2 weeks, there's going to be at least one. Somebody in this studio has already made a bet.
Ooh.
I have a feeling more will follow.
The teaser.
Was it today? Is it?
You know what? I'll just share a quick story. The day when we got our last foot of snow, the last Sunday in January, I had nothing to do because, state of emergency. They didn't want you driving. Not that I was going to anyway. I was sitting here. I opened up some apps to bet some hockey. BetMGM had 11 promos for me. Shows you how long it's been since I've logged into BetMGM. One of them was a 20% profit boost, any bet, any sport. So I made a bet. Those profit boosts are great for futures, by the way. But we're going to
talk about those in a few minutes.
And as it turns out, the day I made that bet is exactly 1 year from the national championship game. So
very nice. And this one does not involve the ghost of Lou Holtz, right?
It does not. Okay. Because I don't want their numbers too short anyway. So I mean, I wouldn't. I think when I do those bets, I eliminate like the top 3 or 4 favorites. So, no, I don't want any of those. Give me somebody with at least 1,000 or better if I'm going to do that.
Agreed.
That's for 2 weeks from now. So.
Oh yeah, can't wait for that. So let's just jump into some bankroll management here. The first step, Darren, take it away.
All right. So the first thing you want to do if you're new to betting or you're getting ready to start a new sport or any season for that matter is how much do you want to start with? Obviously, there's no concrete answer for that. It differs by person. All I'm going to say to that is whatever you start with, please, please, please don't be that guy that takes your mortgage or your rent or your power bill or your car payment or whatever else you pay to help you live and support your family. Do not take money from that. You can start with as little as $100. If you have more than that, that's even better. But just do not take this from necessary things that are required for living comfortably, okay? Look at this as entertainment. You are not going to hit the 6-leg anytime touchdown scorer parlay that you see once every 3 months. Just don't do that. So start with an amount that you're comfortable with, something that if you lose it, you're not going to freak out. It's going to make Saturdays way less stressful. And again, this should be fun. This should be a form of entertainment. Dispensable income, disposable income, whatever you want to call it. That's what you need to use. Whatever
make
that.
Sure you can pay your bills. Make sure you can still buy your kids a GI Joe with the Kung Fu grip. Make sure you can still do all that and not have to donate blood or sell a kidney or anything like that. That's always important.
We do like our kidneys, and
yes. Especially if you drink. Kidneys are important.
Sorry, little Timmy, there'll be no college this fall. We don't want that either.
Right.
Oh, hey, wasn't there a point on the bottom there? Let's go into that too, because that actually helps as well. Pete, you want to tackle that one? Because I'm already tired talking.
Yeah, no, this is good. I mean, so what I do largely first is I will figure out the amount that I'm going to bet through the year, and I will put it into my account, and I will leave it there, right? And then that's my amount to bet with. But one of the ways to increase that amount is looking for ways to add to the bankroll, right? Look for free money, right? Free money are things like boosts, right? Darren just talked about one he stumbled into, right? Just stepping into one of his betting apps and saying, wow, they're giving away 20%. I should probably do something with that. Look for deposit bonuses, right? Always look for maybe there's a new player in your state, right? That's come in and they're offering a new deposit bonus for opening up account with them. Well, maybe that's a direction to go. So look for opportunities to maybe start with a new app that's giving deposit bonuses, or if they're offering deposit bonuses, if you begin to bet more, do something else or whatever it may be. Look for odds boost. That's one thing we do every week, right? We talk about the bets we're going to make, but we look for ways to build in some odds boosts or some ways to make those bets potentially more profitable for us. So take advantage of those opportunities that are there. It's like using coupons, right? It's like taking advantage of opportunities that are there for you. So always, before you place you go in, even to the apps you use all the time, look what they're offering, because especially early in the season, they offer a lot of those bonuses because they want to get people into the app and betting. So look for those bonuses, look for those boosts, and take advantage of them.
Mm-hmm. Every time there's a new app, there's always a deposit bonus.
Yep, absolutely.
Every single time.
Or a new state. Anybody listening or watching in Missouri back on December 1st, sports betting became legal for you guys. So if you haven't signed up back then, now's a great time. New users usually get insane bonuses. Obviously, the larger ones are more likely to give them to you, but they're out there depending on how many apps have been given the okay to be legal in your state. But yeah, like Pete said, all throughout the year, usually at the beginning of the season, usually if there's some big conference game, I think, what was it, Tim, not last year, but I think the year before, one of them had a profit boost for every Saturday night Big Ten game of the week. So, I mean, if you're like Pete and you follow the Big Ten or your favorite programs in the Big Ten, hell, take advantage of that. I mean,
yeah, it was the ABC game of the week or something like that.
I mean, they're not going to let you bet a ton of money, but still, anytime you have a chance to add to what you're getting in, might as well take it.
Right. All right. Next tip, figure out how much you want to wager. Usually for beginners, probably like 1 to 3% of your bankroll. Start small, consistent wagers. Long enough, for your edge to matter. If you're, for their edge to not matter, you can bet longer with it. If you're just beginning, just starting out. Any thoughts, Darren, for the wager bet?
Yeah, like what you said, 1 to 3% is usually a good starting point, especially if your bankroll might be a little bit smaller to start. The good thing about college football, the majority of the games do take place on Saturday. We do know October and November when MAC returns to weekday action. There are some games Tuesday through Friday as well, but the majority of them are on Saturday, so you can alter that percent. Yeah, you could probably go 2 or 3% because you're just not betting on as many games. Say if you were a baseball bettor, where 5 out of 7 days there's 15 games to bet on, and it would just drive me nuts. You'd probably be putting like $5 on each game or something just to keep your bankroll alive for a week. But yeah, well, like you said, 1 to 3, even 1 to 5, if your bankroll's a little larger to start with, is an excellent starting point to figure out how to wager.
Yeah, and learn the lingo, right? Every week we talk about units, right? Units are different for everyone. So you should set what one unit is for you. And that depends on your bankroll, how much you can afford, and you should figure out what that is before you start betting, right? For a person, a unit might be $5. For somebody else, a unit might be 50 or 100, right? It depends what you can afford. And then you continue to keep that unit consistent all the way through. If one unit is $10 for you, then every time you bet one unit, it's $10. Do not deviate. Stay with that all the way through. Have the discipline. If you have that discipline, it's the best way to keep yourself in the box.
Yeah. Well, one good thing about the apps is like no one's going to look down their nose at you if they find out you're only betting $10 or something it's not like you're betting $10 at a casino in front of a bunch of people who just bet 5,000 or something. So you're only betting $10, only bet $10. Who cares?
Okay.
Yeah. The idea is simply to make your deposit whenever you're like, I had a little bit of money left over after the last football season was over. I didn't have to add that much to it. When I do, the goal is to have that be the only time that I'm depositing. I'm going to take that amount, spread it between probably 3 apps. But that's the only deposit you want to make. You want to sit there in January and be able to be like, wow, I didn't spend anything since like August on this. And I'm actually getting a little bit back for my return.
Yes.
Nice. All right. Now this is where it gets into the nitty gritty of it. This is pretty important. Darren, this is one that you preach night and day.
I love this because the best thing I got out of tracking my bets is I suck at so many sports. I don't bet basketball, pro or college. I do not bet baseball. I rarely bet the NFL. And why? Because after those seasons are over, or in some cases like baseball, like when May hits, I'm just not succeeding in those sports. Like basketball, I never know who's sitting from day to day. Baseball, I don't know who's available in everybody's bullpen, and I don't really care to donate the time to try and figure that out. I mean, college football is tough enough, but yeah, for me, and the reason we do this, and Tim, you actually had a resolution a few shows back, from tracking your futures bets. I think it was, you were like, you know what, wasn't super successful this year at futures. I'm gonna go back on that a little bit, maybe not do as many. And that's why we track them, because if you see you have a losing record in parlays, which we don't recommend, or totals or sides, just try and avoid those bets, and tracking them helps you do that. I'm old, get off my lawn, man. I just use a Google sheet, and I plug in my bets, and then when the games are over, I say win or loss, do the unit calculation, and go on about my day. I highlight the winners in green, the losers in red. I look at the reds and I'm like, okay, well, I should not bet the Mountain West ever again, or whatever it is. But that's why we do it, to help you spot trends, let you know what you're good at, and more importantly, for the sake of your banker, what you're not good at, so you don't repeat those mistakes.
Yeah, just one example. I just went back before the show. I meant to do the whole year. I only got down from the end of the year down to like week 7 or 6, and I was 4-1 in the MAC so far. I haven't done the last 6, weeks 6 through 1 or 0 or whatever.
If that's the case, Pete and I are going to take November off, and you just run the show.
You're in.
Get out MAC winners, baby. We're going to watch and follow your lead then.
Toledo was very good to me this year. So yes, I think 3 of the 4 wins are with Toledo. So we'll see what goes on from there. Any final thoughts on that, Peter?
No, I agree. I track mine via Excel, so same approach Darren uses. It's the reason why I largely bet totals. I occasionally deviate, and mostly every time I deviate, I get kicked right in the ass. I get kicked in the ass because I'm not good at it, right? I'm usually pretty good at totals. That's my wheelhouse, and I try to stay in my lane. I also know, based on history, that generally 3 bets is about my limit. If I stay with 3, I can allocate the appropriate amount of time to those 3 games to get a clear view on them and do pretty well. When I start to expand beyond that, generally I get myself in trouble, right? So I've learned that through tracking my bets. So I can go back and look and say, hey, where did I do well? Where did I not do so well? If you don't track them, you have no idea what you did over time, and you keep making the same mistakes over and over again. So same as Darren and Tim. If you're not tracking, you just don't know where you're making mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. This is another important one. You may like to bet on Hawaii, but never chase. Sometimes the best bet is not making one. I see this a lot. I work part-time on the weekends at a card room down here, and I'll see people, they'll play some of the bigger games, and they'll lose, 10, 12,000 playing the game, and they'll bring their last 8 or 9,000 over to these table games and try to win it back playing 3-card poker, or even worse, 1-card poker, like War when we were kids. They have that there, and they're playing for like 1,000, 2,000 a time, and it's like, I feel like telling them, go home. We're open tomorrow. We're not closing anytime soon, so we'll be open tomorrow. But the big thing is never chase. Any thoughts? We'll start with Darren.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And I'll use an example. 2024. I haven't been shy about it. Not a good year for me betting college football. But again, that initial deposit in May, I started hammering out some futures bets. That was all I had to make, because even though I might have been down, 8, 9, 10, 12 units, whatever it was, I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing a 3-unit play here. I'm not doing a 5-unit play here, because the rate I'm going, that's just not going to work out. So just do not chase. Nothing good ever comes of it. I mean, we love watching Hawaii. They're very entertaining, but you don't want to be forced to be betting on Hawaii all the time.
Except for me.
Yeah.
Hawaii was very good to me this year.
Hawaii was your Toledo.
Maybe go there next year instead of Mexico.
That'd be fantastic.
Drug cartels in Hawaii, but
Hawaii's very expensive. Mexico's not. So
that's
fine.
Tim, come on. If you're not waking up having a mimosa surrounded by gunfire, are you even really living your best life?
I'm not living my best life. I got to get down
you're
there.
not.
That's another quick ad. If you're chasing and you're betting at night, if you're out with your friends, I know it's hard to do if you're in this condition, but try not to bet when you're drunk.
Yes.
Usually, if you're chasing that late, you're out Saturday night betting on Hawaii. when you're like 5 Long Island iced teas deep or something like this.
If you went 1 and 5 while you were sober, you're certainly not going to do any better if you're drunk.
Exactly.
Put the phone down. It's a natural tendency to want to chase when you start losing. Put the phone down.
Yep.
I mean, I was playfully chasing during the playoffs, during the bowls, but I had a crappy year generally, but I had extra money just sitting in my account. So I was just playing with it. I wasn't like putting extra money in and chasing with it. I just had money in my account and I was continuing to lose, which just proves out the point. You shouldn't chase, right? I didn't care if I lost that money because it's already in there, but I would not have put more money in there to chase. That would have been asinine, right? So do not chase. It is very easy to do. It's very compelling. It sounds good, especially when something looks bright and shiny, that big, shiny, glowing red button.
Yeah.
Ren and Stimpy. Yeah, it's very
the Bankroll eraser button right now. That's what it is. But and you always hear that one story. There's like that one time you hear that one guy's like, "Oh, I was down, but I put it all on." You know, Fresno State at Hawaii. They covered. I got it all back. That's like one in like one.
What's that meme with the 2 buttons? Bet Hawaii, don't bet Hawaii, and the guy's like swiping the. Yeah. Don't get into that situation. Don't be that guy. Or press the don't bet Hawaii button. Just next Saturday will be here soon enough. I mean, you'll get plenty of time to recoup.
Yes. Or bet on what does our friend Ray bet on, like Japanese horse racing and stuff.
Yeah.
Korean baseball and
oh boy. All right, so Pete, why don't we start here for this last slide here? We're getting down towards the end. We got some extra betting tips.
Yeah, I'll take the first bullet because it's something that anybody who's watched our show for the past couple of years knows this. You know, if you look at my bets, you know, I don't exclusively focus on one conference, but I do tend to start with the Big Ten and go out from there, right? It is the conference I know the best. Obviously, I'm a Wolverine. So I tend to know my own team the best. So, you know, coming off of that, I know, you know, my conference the best. I know our rivals the best and all of that. I paid the closest attention to the Big Ten. So, and just because I live there as well, I hear just without even trying, you hear all this stuff by being there. So I know the Big Ten the best, right? So I tend to start there. So largely you'll see through the year, maybe 2 out of my 3 bets might be out of the Big Ten because I know it the best. That doesn't mean I only stay there because there's many weeks that go by where I look and there's just nothing all that enticing in the Big Ten, and I'll start looking elsewhere. I do have my other favorites that come up each year. So Ole Miss was one of them. Hawaii was one of them. You know, I do kind of go and find teams that tend to be working well for me for whatever reason it may be. But I do tend to focus on one conference, maybe 2. I might find another, you know, maybe not another big conference, but maybe it's the MAC or somewhere else that is a little enticing or, you know, there's just something interesting about them. Being the MAC as well, we're up where I am. There's a lot of those teams around me. I hear a lot about that, so that also entices me. But I do tend to favor a focus on the Big Ten as a start. So I take the first poll. Who wants to go next?
Well, speaking of Ole Miss, you want to go back a little bit to tracking your bets with me? Ole Miss, out. Did not trust them at all. After week 3, I was done. I was like 0-3, nope, no more.
2 years ago, we used to not even hear from Pete without him making an Ole Miss over bet. But again, that's why you track your bets. Yeah, let me just piggyback onto what Pete said because he's 1,000% correct and very little to add. But there's 138 teams this year, guys. I mean, Sacramento State, welcome to the MAC. North Dakota State, welcome to the Mountain West. I mean, even the Big Ten with 18 teams, it's a hell of a lot easier to get a good read on 18 teams than it is 138. So he's 1,000% correct. Just, I mean, start where you live. Mm-hmm. You know, like Tim lives down in Florida. He's a big Florida State guy. You know, he probably knows ACC football better than Pete and I do. Mm-hmm. So use where you live to your advantage because chances are your local game is probably half of the other conference that you're watching. So it's a great way to start just focusing on one conference.
Yep. Right. Second one, bet favorites early, underdogs late. This goes especially if you see a team that has like a new coach, new coordinators, you know, a lot of new players coming in with the transfer portal and everything. It usually for the first, you know, 4 or 5 weeks, it'll take longer for them to, you know, to gel together or whatever. But you have the favorites early. That's usually, especially in the first couple of weeks, they tend to cover. Even if you have those, you know, those 23-point spreads, they'll win like 56-3 or something, especially those big college things. So I love, bet the favorites earlier. I guess maybe at week 5 or 6, maybe start giving the underdogs a little bit more consideration. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, guys.
I'll go first. So the reason I threw that one there, and we talked about the last slide about not chasing, there's going to be people that chase. There's going to be a lot of Joe Public bettors that chase. They're going to be sitting there on a Saturday night. They're going to be like, how am I supposed to get my money back? And it's just human nature to pick a favorite. So if if the college football lines come out Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, you're breaking down your games and you actually like a favorite, say they're laying 6.5 points, go ahead and bet it then. Because as that game's kicking off, people are losing their money and trying to get it back. Like I said, they're naturally going to bet on the favorites, and even more so if they're home favorites. That just, everybody's like, wow, I've lost my money. I can't count on this 6.5 point underdog. So yes, if you like a favorite, bet it early. Obviously, the flip side to that is when all these people are betting on the favorites on game day, that just means the spread's going up, which means if you like an underdog and you wait till right before kickoff, you're going to get more points. That 6.5 point dog, you can get 7.5 by kickoff. So that's just like a regular fading the public kind of tip in there. Just the public is going to bet favorites more than they bet underdogs. So depending on what side you're on, either bet it Tuesday or wait till Saturday 10 minutes before kickoff.
All right. The QB is easily the most important position. Know the backup. Peter.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty evident to most people, but I'm not sure most people bother to look to see who the backup is, right? And at the end of the day, that guy, the QB goes down in the first quarter, and your bet could be out the window pretty quickly, right? Especially if the backup is a big step down. And for many of these teams, it can be a big step down. This is very possible, even more so now in this era of the portal, right? Where you've got teams that might have a pretty decent starting quarterback, and behind them they have a bucket of balls, right? There's not much behind them at times. And so that drop-off can be rather significant. It's important that you know that, right? And especially if there's any type of, you can't predict injuries, but if their team is playing in some type of conditions that could potentially, where the predictability of an injury increases, really tough defense, bad weather, things where the probability of an injury increases, then it's even more important to understand who that backup is and factor that into your betting. But it is really important because obviously we know quarterbacks are extremely important, and without them, without your starter, it can be pretty catastrophic, especially for certain teams that really rely on their quarterbacks. If you just step back and look at some of the teams, across college football, some of these teams are heavily reliant on their starting quarterback. Like that is their team, right? If you're going to bet on that team, you really need to keep that in mind, because you are betting on that quarterback as well, not just that team. So keep that in mind. Know who the backup is. Always factor that into your betting.
Yeah. So do you know the name or just a number?
Well, I mean, for Tim, the number's fine.
I couldn't tell you Florida State's. I know 14's the starter, and I think 9's the backup. I don't even know their name.
The team is irrelevant anyway. So
14's the kid from Auburn. 9 is Kevin something. So, but he played in the Stanford game last year. So
they're both going to get your coach fired this year. It doesn't matter.
We'll see. We'll have Mark back on. We'll discuss that later. But Darren, any thoughts on the QB?
No, Pete's correct. And with the portal now closed and spring practices kind of really kicking into high gear this week, you're going to find articles online, the most intriguing quarterback battles this year. That usually means those rosters have two guys who are capable of leading their squad. So kind of get familiar with those teams, know who those two guys are, and know that if you bet them, they can't transfer now because there's no second window in April. Thank God. You can easily these guys have two capable quarterbacks. So there's a little asterisk next to this team. All right, if whoever wins a job goes down, I've got confidence in the backup. So that's a good place to start to maybe get a list of 10 to 12 teams that do have two people who are capable of running the offense. So.
All right, give the group of 6 some attention here. I guess got a lot of teams. The odds makers, they concentrate on the SEC, the Big Ten. That's where a lot of the money's going to be gone. So maybe pay attention to the group of 6 here. Peter, what's your favorite group of 6?
Yeah, well, it's not just where the odds makers are; it's where the
Hawaii.
Obviously Hawaii, but it's where the money's going too, right? I mean, at the end of the day, once the odds makers set the odds, it's where the money's going that drives them, right? And so, quite often, especially those that are not like we are, obviously we are. This is a betting podcast. A lot of the people that watch it obviously are bettors, right? And so we're into the weeds way more than the average bettor is, right? The average bettor is out there betting on names. They're betting on maybe where they went, which are largely bigger schools. So a lot of the money is chasing the bigger names around, the bigger conferences around, right? And so you can find some gems out there, some opportunities out there in this group of 6 because there's not as much money being bet on these games. So you can find opportunities in these games. I find total opportunities in these games all the time. So when I do deviate away from the Big Ten, you will see me picking those games quite often where when you see me dive down into the group of 6, right, and you see me bet on a Hawaii or somebody like that, it is quite often that I'm seeing an opportunity there where there's a total that intrigues me because I think it's been overlooked a bit, or I think just the money hasn't gone there, and it's just that number just doesn't seem to make sense based on what the actual play in the field is going to be. And so I think that's where some of those opportunities lie, more so than where obviously the odds makers are focusing, the money is focusing, where everybody, all the talking heads on TV are focusing, which is where the money is being driven to because the talking heads on TV are talking about these games, right? If you get out of all that, cloud, you can find some, hanging fruit out there with opportunities. And so at least look around, see what's out there, because some of those kind of low-hanging fruit opportunities are out there, especially early in the season. I was going to say it earlier, but you'll see me early in the season. Some of those opportunities are there. You'll see me betting unders quite often early, first couple of weeks, because 2 reasons. Number one, some of these group of 6 games are being overlooked. And number 2, defenses get up to speed generally faster than offenses. Hence, unders come into play. You'll hear me talking about that week 0, week 1, week 2. After that, it starts to even out, but you'll hear me talking about that quite a bit early in the season.
Darren.
Yeah, again, Pete's 100% correct. And Tim, you touched on it with the Power 4 conferences. The reason I've got this tip in here, there's information everywhere on those Power 4 teams. I mean, they all have 20 to 30 beat writers. It's very easy to get information, to get injury reports on some of these larger conferences. But you don't see that with the group of 6. And one of the reasons I like betting college as opposed to NFL lines are super, super sharp. There is so much information out there on all 32 teams. If you think you found an edge, I guarantee you the Sportsbook had that edge 4 hours ago and have already factored it into the line. So that edge you think you have, you don't have. And again, with NFL, there's 32 teams. We touched on it earlier. There's 138 in college football this year. And let me just say this, the Sportsbook, the odds makers, some of the smartest MFers on the planet, all right? They know what they're doing, and they get paid accordingly. But it is still difficult to have solid lines for 138 teams. And Pete had mentioned hitting some of those smaller schools early. He is 1,000% correct. It's going to take a few weeks, even for the sports books, to get their power ratings and their thoughts on those smaller teams in order. So it's definitely a good time to attack. Maybe do an extra game or 2 early. Follow some beat writers on Twitter. Hell, if you live in Fort Collins, you probably know more about Colorado State than any of us. Use that to your advantage. But yeah, it's basically an information thing, and you can't get the information on Colorado State, but I can find something on Ohio State without too much trouble. So.
For sure. I mean, stepping off that, what Darren said, information, right? I mean, you'll see our preview shows for like the Sun Belt and some of these other smaller conferences. If you want to do something fun, try to do it yourself. Try to go out there and do your own preview of the Sun Belt, the ACC, some of the not the ACC, but some of these other smaller conferences, and try, especially the teams that aren't so good in those conferences, try to find information on them. Try to actually figure out what they're going to do this season. There is so little information out there. It is really difficult to do that. And that's what you're fighting all season long is there's just not information on some of these teams. It's just hard to get it, which you can take to your advantage sometimes with some of these games.
Yep. and schedules matter at the end. I mean, yeah, for me, I wish I did some more research and found out how many times teams are playing on the road on a Friday night or a Thursday night. I stay away from those. Darren, any thoughts with the schedules?
Yeah, I just want to say it just says schedules matter, and everybody's looking like, well, yeah, no duh, jackass. Well, we ran out of room on the graphic, so I had to narrow it down to what I was saying. But basically what I meant by that is realignment has really effed up some of these conferences. I mean, you've got Oregon, USC, UCLA in the Big Ten. You've got Cal and Stanford in the Atlantic Coast Conference. You know, there's teams that are going to be flying across the country multiple times this year. And as the season goes on, that's kind of like some wear and tear. So I just had a example here. Let's just take Stanford, for example. Their schedule, they're going to Duke. They're going to Wake Forest. They're going to Notre Dame. They're going to Louisville. And they're going to Virginia Tech. Again, over-under on frequent flyer miles. Take the over on Stanford. But, you know, and look at the start times. If any of those games are like a noon start time, those Stanford guys are going to be thinking that it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I mean, the body clock is a real thing. Tim and I always joke about fading teams going across at least 2 time zones. Mm-hmm. It's no joke. We've made some good money betting on those teams that have to do the travel because they're just not used to it. So pay attention to those schedules. If you see a team traveling way out there, hey, did they just go back out there 2 weeks ago? Yeah, they're probably a little exhausted. So you look at those schedules, not just, oh, that's a good team. You know, look at how far some of these teams do have to travel because it will make a difference, especially later in the season.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of my Hawaii play this year, right? If a team is flying to Hawaii, you know, that doesn't in and of itself mean anything other than the fact that they're traveling. But when Hawaii has a decent team and a good quarterback, and now a team is traveling out there, that's a problem, right? That is a snake pit you're flying into with a tired team crossing a bunch of time zones, trying to deal with a pretty good team in their home environment. That's a problem, right? So look for those opportunities, right? I don't know how many times we talked last year about, heck, this team is going 2 time zones to face a pretty good team in a really tough stadium. That's a problem, right? I don't care how good that team is that's flying out there. That is a disadvantage for them. And we saw that play itself out so many times last year when a good team crosses a couple time zones and goes to a tough stadium, and all of a sudden their back's against the wall. And that happened many times last year. So those are opportunities to look for because they do present themselves quite often.
Yeah, and Hawaii is a great example. I mean, you're a 20-year-old kid playing football. You're going to Hawaii. Are you really thinking like with the business trip mindset? Probably not. No. Like Pete said, factor in a good team on top of that. Bro, just give me a pina colada and a pineapple shell and get me the hell back to school.
Hot chicks and hula skirts. There you go.
I'll take the L and we'll go home. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, now we're going to do a little bit of review, but first we're going to talk about in the middle there, evaluate your bankroll every 30 days or so. This helped me out last year getting away from Ole Miss. Pete, Darren, you want to expand on that a little bit?
I'll touch it real quick because Darren said something really important earlier, right? And his goal is the same as mine. Deposit once, right? Deposit once the beginning of the year, and the goal is to maintain that all the way through. Now, of course, actually the goal is to build it and end up with a bunch of money at the end of the year if you can. Fantastic, right? But if you can't do that, right, keep an eye on your bankroll. Make sure that you're betting within that bankroll. So, you know, if you have a certain amount, right, whatever the amount is you put in and you want to make it last all the way through the year, the way I look at it, if I lose every single bet, but I want to bet all year long, how many units could I bet every week and lose every single bet? You know, and if it's for entertainment for me, great. Then I know how much I can bet for. Great. I can bet 3 units a week. Right. Then I bet 3 units a week. If I lose every single bet, then I end up with 0 on my account at the end of the year. But you know what? I had fun. I bet 3 units a week. I enjoyed myself all year, and it was good. And I never had a deposit again. But keep an eye on your bankroll. Don't chase. All the things we said allow you to do this. But keep an eye on that bankroll. Take advantage of the bonuses. Take advantage of the boosts because these will allow you to build that bankroll, right? Especially, you know, boosts and bonuses. If you feel really good about a bet you're making, then put that on the boost. Put that on a bonus. They take advantage of that boost with that game because that'll allow you to take a little advantage of popping up your bankroll a little bit which gives you that opportunity to do a little more if you want to going forward. So those are my thoughts.
Darren.
No, you summed it up perfectly. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a great way to do it. I mean, especially college football season. You know what? When week 0 rolls around, after week 3 is done, wake up Sunday morning and see where you're at. Are you ahead? Are you behind? Pete also touched on keeping that unit amount the same. I agree with that totally. We do that. But maybe you lost a little more in those first 4 weeks than you thought. Say you were betting 4% of your bankroll. Maybe for a week, drop it down to 3%. Don't increase it to try and get it back. Maybe you just feel like whatever you're looking at, it's just not the stats that you feel like you should be looking at. But we're not against toning it back 1% for like a week or so. But then you're not going to lose every single week. But again, don't chase and feel like, oh, this is the week I'm getting it back. Because I guarantee you that's the week you will not get it back. So stay steady with your units, like Pete said. Maybe back a touch for 1 week if that bankroll is taking a beating after the first 4 weeks. But yes, every 30 days, give it a look. See what kind of bet you're winning. More importantly, see what kind of bet you're losing. And then avoid those as you start that second 30 days.
Right. Evaluate every 30 days. Look for ways to get free money. And if you need help, get it.
Yes.
So,
You didn't put watch our show in there because I mean,
yeah,
I feel
watch
like
our show. Always be targeting winners.
kind of like the name implies, kind of what we're trying to do here.
Right. So track everything. Stay disciplined. Any final thoughts, guys?
Yeah, figure out which one of the 3 of us is having a good year and take those bets.
Yeah.
That usually helps.
So that would be Pete. So that would be
And that was Darren. That was Darren this year. That was me 2 years ago.
Yeah, Pete was the year before. Pete was crushing it in 2024.
all right,
So I
guys.
guess, Tim, it means it's your year. So don't listen to
That's
Pete.
right. It's your turn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
until November.
follow Tim religiously,
Yeah.
especially when Mac time rolls up. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got to love the Mac. All right. So, reminder on the 19th, we have our national championship show coming up. That'll be at 7 p.m. on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and all that stuff. We really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed listening. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you on the 19th.